Ontario has phased out its coal-fired power, which means that they are no longer going to depend on coal for energy. In fact, they only had 2 coal power plants left, and they will be shutting those 2 down. Now, the interesting thing is the province owns those coal plants, so it's not like a separate entity or a corporation that has political power. You know, this is the problem we have here in the United States. But basically, they want to focus more on renewable energies. Now, they're going to focus on natural gas, but they're also going to focus on wind and solar.
Now, there's a little bit of irony here about Canada overall, if not Ontario, because, of course, the tar sands are in Canada, and that's even worse. But Ontario is going in the right direction here, and it's interesting what Anna pointed out is that probably the best point, which is in the U.S., if it was a private-run corporation, we'd never be able to phase them out, right? They would just keep funneling money to our politicians to keep it open forever. So there's this fascinating phenomenon that if the government owns it, it's actually less likely to be corrosive to the citizens than if a private corporation owns. Now, that's not the case with everything. You know, sneakers got to be made by private corporations. And I don't even think that the government should own necessarily the coal power plants. I think that's an interesting conversation, right, as to who should own utilities and energy companies. And I think that's somewhere in between. But it's just refreshing to see, at least somewhere in the world, where people actually respond to the wishes of their own citizens.
You know, I haven't really given a thought to why I would support coal being a private corporation, but so far, based on the information I have, I feel like the government should probably own it, no? Because if the government owns it and you don't have, you know, the corruption that you have here in the United States, then you start to care more about the environment and the impact that these coal power plants are having. I mean, this isn't something that just came up out of nowhere. They realized that it caused more pollution, including in fact, according to one institute, the greenhouse gas emissions from Ontario's electricity sector have fallen from 4 million tons to 10 million tons over the past decade because of the coal plant closings.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, it depends, because sometimes when the state owns something, there's more corruption, right? It depends on the country, it depends on the circumstances, but since somebody's going to make money out of it somehow, with the state being able to assign that, it sometimes leads to greater corruption, right? So it's a mixed bag, but you know, at the same time, a lot of states own their own natural resources, oil, coal, etc. The U.S. is so taken over by corporations that in some parts of the Gulf, even though it's the oil of the United States and of the taxpayers, the private companies take the oil and give us $0. They give us nothing. That's just theft, is all it is. Except they bribe the politicians, so it's legalized bribery. So they say, okay, here, just keep taking it. Take it for free. Whereas some other countries, they say, hey, look, you can do a profitable oil business here, and you know we need to help with some private corporations do the drilling, etc. So we'll give you 10%. Now, do they not do it? Do the companies say, well, we're not doing it for 10%? No, they do it. You know why? Because they still make money.
Right, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the country says, well, since it's our oil, we're going to keep 90%. And that percentage changes, right, in different countries for different reasons. But in the U.S., it's comical. Because in some parts of the country, it's 0%. Because our government doesn't work for us. So, you know, when some people say the U.S. is more corrupt than anywhere else, I wouldn't go that far. But there's some validity to how much we have legalized corruption in this country.